Alright, so we got chapter 384 spoilers, and before I go into it, let me just quickly go over what had happened in the previous chapter. And also, guys, I'm sorry that I didn't get a chance to review that chapter. I've been in Japan, things have been a little difficult for me, but I really enjoyed that chapter. I thought it was a really strong one, especially, since the chapters we've been getting lately. But basically in that chapter, we saw Ashido, Kirishima, and Shinso, where they were able to successfully overcome the paranormal liberation front and successfully take over Gigantomachia. So that was kind of like the connective tissue to us finding out how they were able to have him attack All for One, because that was the end of the chapter before that one. But now we're finally coming back to it, because that's where this chapter begins, with Machia attacking All for One and Tokoyami realizing that it's because of Shinso's brainwashing. He wonders if an attack from All for One wouldn't nullify his quirk, and Hawks replies that Mount Lady is blocking the attacks aimed at Machia. All for One realizes that this quirk must be the reason why the Aoyama family has managed to deceive him. He then mocks Shinso, saying that brainwashing is a method that only villains should use, and attacks Machia with a shockwave to bring him back to senses. Machia then starts to speak. He says that he knows that's All for One because of his smell, and asks why he's abandoned him in Jakku. Hawks is confused and wonders if Shinso is making him talk, just like he did with Aoyama's parents. But how could he do it so fast after the attack? We then see a flashback to the moment when All for One left Machia in the mountains, saying that his successor would come for him, and that he's very sad to say goodbye. Machia says that he has been waiting all this time, but now he realizes that he was abandoned by his master. We then see that Kirishima protected Shinso from All for One's big attack. Shinso says that this is the second time someone has resisted brainwashing, first time being Midoriya. He says that because even while being controlled, Machia kept talking about his anger at being betrayed. So what Shinso did was just buy a little time so that Machia's own personal anger could grow by itself. In the past, many have said that he acts in the same way as the villains, but his quirk can't change what's inside people's hearts. Hawk says that it's only natural for someone to rebel against their master if they've gone through so much suffering, and we see Machia, Mount Lady, and Dark Shadow go for another attack. The POV changes to helicopters. Okay, so that's quite the twist. I did not expect that at all. I for sure thought Machia was going to be ride or die for All for One this entire time, because he was kind of set up that way, kind of like beyond repair, the guard dog that he's kind of become. But first, let's talk about the sponsor of this video, Tokyo Treat. Tokyo Treat is a monthly pop Japanese snack subscription box where you'll get up to 20 of the latest, most exclusive, limited edition, and seasonal flavored Japanese snacks that are only available in Japan for a limited time, like Sakura Pepsi, Japanese sake Kit Kats, ramen, and many more. It also comes with this awesome booklet that gives you information on all of the snacks in the box, as well as information about Japan and its culture. This month's box is Sakura Picnic Party. Spring is here, and that means it's officially Sakura blossom season. Each spring, beautiful Japanese cherry blossoms turn Japan into a pink paradise. Tokyo Treat wants to share all of their favorite Sakura treats, so they've packed them all into a cute limited edition box just for you. First, I tried the Strawberry King Cider. It's super refreshing, and it has that unique Amao strawberry flavor, which you're really not going to be able to find anywhere else. I also tried the Sakura Manju. This is apparently a Sakura season staple. And then, of course, every month we have to try the special Japanese Kit Kats that we get from Tokyo Treat. And this month, it's peach. The Japanese Kit Kats always deliver on these flavors, and this is the best peach candy I've ever tried. So guys, if you're interested in getting your very own Tokyo Treat box, please check out the link in the description and make sure you use my code Zhoniin. That way you'll get $5 off your very first box. Thanks, guys. And I don't know, I'm not necessarily mad at this kind of, pseudo face turn, I guess you could say. I do like that Shinso took him over and was controlling him and attacking him, but now that Machia is seemingly just upset at All for One, just, kind of out of nowhere. I mean, yeah, he did do him dirty, but Gigantomachia is like so brain controlled by whatever experiments that Yujiko did to him, because he's essentially like the first Nomu. Like, it's never been outright stated, but in that, like, initial flashback that we see when Izuku initially, like, talks to Yoichi from like 100 years ago, it's like All For One and Yoichi interacting, and Yoichi's about to like approach All For One aggressively, and then suddenly this guy comes out of nowhere and puts Yoichi on his back, and he has like dreads and a mask on. I'm pretty sure that that was Gigantomachia when he was a human, meaning that for like over 100 years, pretty much, he was like experimented on and being kept as All For One's lapdog. Now, that's not confirmed, of course, but just in my opinion, I'm pretty sure it's been that long. So yeah, I guess the resentment's been built up, and yeah, Gigantomachia, he could be a good face. You know, like a big, goofy, dumb guy, but he has a heart of gold. We then see the NHA reporter who appeared at the sports festival, Camino, and many other arcs. She and her buddy took a helicopter as soon as they saw a live stream on the internet showing a UA student fighting to protect everyone. She instantly realized that it was Deku from the time she interviewed him about All Might becoming a teacher. She gets emotional over how much he's grown in just 1 year and starts crying. We then see a page showing Deku holding Shigaraki's hands while he laughs. He's holding his hand in a not letting him use decay way. And we see that she is not the only one, because the journalist who blamed Endeavor during the press conference is in the other helicopter. She says it's more of a personal goal than professional journalism. She wants to see what the heroes who kept fighting will do. They kept fighting even after Japan was abandoned by the other countries. She wants to be there to see the results of these efforts. Whether they win or lose, we then see that the views on Gentle's Live keep growing, going from 7,000 to over 20,000. You'd think it'd be a lot more than that, you know, since this is like the end of the world, or the battle for the end of the world. I mean, not like the apocalypse, but you know, if All For One wins, he's going to become the Dark Ruler, so you'd think it'd be like in the millions. The chapter ends with the reporter saying that she wants the world to know it's not over yet. While we get to see so many familiar characters watching the fight, including Roddy's siblings, Melissa, Mahoro, Katsuma, Agpar, Death Arms, and the US president, and some international heroes. So that's pretty wild. Horikoshi just at the very end of the series shoehorning in all of these pseudo-canon characters from the movies, you know, because over the years, you know, big contentious part of the hardcore fandom is if the movies are fully canon or if they're not canon. And trust me guys, I know Horikoshi has talked about this in interviews. I've made many videos about it, but I don't really think personally that they're like 100% canon, but they are kind of, especially now that we're finally seeing these characters in the series. I mean, we did see Horikoshi kind of retcon the little girls who All Might saves in the beginning of the first movie, like when he's young in America, that she grew up to become Star and Stripe. So that was kind of like, I don't know, the second instance of that. And then of course there was the iconic instance of back around the Villain Academia time when we saw 9 in that big double spread of all the characters. But regardless, I like it. I just would have liked if they integrated them more. Like, it's interesting that he's just deciding to add Melissa now. When we got introduced to Izuku's new red gauntlets things, those were invented by Melissa, I'm pretty sure, in the movie. But they don't say that in the manga. They just kind of say like, oh yeah, we got it from America. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of the chapter. And I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed by the reveal of what was going on with the helicopter, because in the previous chapter, or at the end of the previous chapter, we saw those helicopters coming in, and it was kind of like set up to like hype us up, right? Like, who is that? Is it somebody important? And it's like, no, it was nobody important. I thought that it could have been All Might, you know, because I've been talking about All Might possibly using the same kind of method that All For One did, to where he's going to rewind himself back to, you know, a form of his body where he's strong enough to fight again. Which, you know, is contentious, and some people will say that he can, and I'll say that he can, but there is some evidence that possibly happening, and we talked about it a couple chapters back, because we saw All Might leaving that room that Tsukauchi was in with a briefcase, and now it's like, I'm not even gonna get my hopes up anymore. That briefcase probably just has nothing in it, and I don't know. I'm not trying to be pessimistic here, guys. It's just that, you know, maybe we shouldn't think too fantastically with our expectations for the ending of this series, because, you know, the helicopter just wound up being that reporter lady, and she is cool. She has been around the series for a while, but it just doesn't matter to me personally. I'd rather more characters get spotlight and focus, such as like the previous chapter. Like I said, that was a fantastic chapter. The way that the characters all interacted, all the things made sense. Them working together, taking down Machia, or taking him up, if you will, in a synergistic fashion. Big fan of that stuff, but it's just, you know, too little too late at this point, and I just wish that momentum could have kept going. But that's neither here nor there. I still still am optimistic for the rest of this series, and I will continue covering it. So subscribe if you haven't already, guys. And if you like the video, please like it too. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.